Some of us have hunted elk many times, while others have only just begun pursuing them. Hunting elk is one of those things that never becomes routine, regardless of how many times you've done it. It is still equally as exciting. There are three roads that lead to the same destination. There are three players seeking to achieve one goal. Why do I hunt? It's who I am.
Where do I find the passion? It's in my blood.
How do I keep going? It's what I live for.
We are the wildlifers.
I don't think there's any place I'd rather be on this earth than at the T.O. Ranch during elk season.
It's just a great place to hunt. There is, great habitat, a lot of water, big trees for shade. It's just got everything it needs to sustain the massive numbers of animals that live on this property.
I love being on this ranch during elk season. It is just fabulous. I was here last year, and on my elk hunt, I shot a fabulous bull. He had a drop tine. It was an amazing hunt, a hunt of a lifetime, but it's not easy hunting here. These elk are very skittish. You don't get close to them. This is a very different hunt than what we normally go on to.
Well, Stephanie is coming along to watch me shoot an elk for a change. It seems like for the last years I've been just watching her. I've got a tag, and then later on, Kevin Fowler is going to come in, who's a friend of ours, and go on an elk hunt as well.
Well, everybody else has got to hunt the last couple years. It's exciting. Dan has a tag this year, and I'm excited to tag along and watch him.
I don't know how many elk that I've actually hunted in my life, because I've hunted them for other people and for myself. I've personally taken 47, but elk and turkeys are pretty much neck and neck as far as I'm concerned. When they start bugling and coming to you, it's one of the greatest rushes in the world, and elk hunting can never get old.
So Kevin Fowler's coming on this hunt with us, and I'm looking forward to hunting with him because he's always wanted to shoot an elk with his bow, and this is going to be fun.
I actually met Kevin Fowler through a game warden friend of mine when we were looking for some entertainment for my stepson's graduation party. Kind of put the teaser out there first. I took him in my trophy room, and he was walking around looking at all the big elk on the wall, and then I said, man, why don't you come out to New Mexico and we'll go do some elk hunting. We've got an extra tag out there this year. And then I found out that he'd been trying for a very long time to get one with his bow, and that's when I told him, I said, man, this is the perfect spot to do it with a bow. So he was super excited and ready to get out there and come try it.
Howdy everybody, Kevin Fowler here, and I'm a singer-songwriter by trade. And I love bow hunting. Bow hunting is my other passion other than music. My band and I were actually playing a show out at the Braman's Milling Creek Ranch, and they mentioned, you might want to go elk hunt with us. I was like, yeah, it's on. And it didn't take me about 5 seconds to tell them I would definitely be here.
This is going to be a great week. Getting to hunt with Kevin Fowler and my husband Dan, well, I couldn't think of two better hunting partners.
I've hunted a lot of elk on this piece of property, and I've seen a lot of elk on this piece of property. I'm really excited to get out there and get going because I know what's here. Wildlifers is brought to you by Melon Creek Outfitters, raising standards, not fences. Barnes Precision Machine, USA made with unmatched performance. Wise Eye Smart Feeders. Feed the guest, zap the pest, shut out the rest. OnX Hunt. Where the pavement ends, OnX begins. We are the wildlifers. It will be hard for someone to say that one elk hunt is better than another. Different perhaps, but not better. Well, the plan is for us to head out right before daylight. We're going to a part of the ranch that has really got some good bulls on it. Well, we get over to the spot right before daylight, and as the sun gets bright enough to where we can see, we don't glass for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and we find this huge herd of elk over on the side of this mesa.
Driving along, we see this huge herd of elk. So we get out to spot, and that's when Dan notices this big 7x7.
We see one in there that's a 7x7. We get out to spot and scopes, get a little closer look, and decide that this is our boy. This is the one we're going to go after.
It's really windy and overcast. It's going to make it very difficult to get close enough. This herd is kind of scattered out in this wide open mesa.
When we spot that 7x7, there is so many elk around him that the only thing that makes sense would be to drive all the way around the mountain and then walk over from the top. But we can't do that because the wind is bad. We've got to really sit down here and talk about this and come up with a game plan to keep our heads below the horizons as we try to get in here closer to get a shot at this bull.
So we start our stalk out in the wide open, and we're trying to be as careful as we can to get after this bull because there's 3 other bulls right over here to our side that gotta get around.
If someone were to ask me, what feeling do you get when you look across, a mountain range or a mesa and you see a herd of elk feeding out there? It's definitely something that touches you here. I don't know that a word can describe it.
Well, Dan's a seasoned hunter, and he's also a guide, so he sees the importance of shooting a mature animal and not taking something that's too young.
Well, I flat out won't shoot a bull that isn't either mature or post-mature. That's a personal preference for me, to each their own, but for me, I have absolutely no reason in the world to go out and take a bull that hadn't reached his full potential.
As we're making our stalk, he kind of breaks away from the herd, and he's actually working his way towards us.
Well, we're finally able to walk down this valley and just barely peek our head up over some little rises and get a little bit better look at that 7x7, and that's when I looked at Nick and said, yeah, this is the bull I want. Let's try to get in position here to get him.
We set up at these cattle pens, and we're trying to get this bull interested in coming over to the cow call, but he is just not having it.
We're kind of moving along with this bull, and as we're kind of getting to the point to where we're going to have to go at him, he just leaves the herd and starts walking across the prairie, more or less paralleling us, but kind of in a way getting closer and closer to us. So we ended up by these old cow pens, and we hunkered down by that so that he wouldn't see us, and just kind of let him meander along for a little while and see if he wouldn't get, a little bit closer, for us to have a better shot.
He's too far, really, with the wind and the conditions for Dan to take a shot at him.
Well, we're sitting there by the cow pens, and that old bull finally gets to a spot out there that he just doesn't want to move. He sits there for a long time, just kind of feeding around in a circle, pick his head up and look around. It's become evident that, he's been chasing cows all night. It's kind of hot, he's tired. He's going to hang out right here. So there's a fence line in front of us about 110 yards away. And Nick and I decide that if we can get to that fence line, we'll look at it from there, and if it looks like there's a presentable shot from there, we'll do it.
Well, it's really a miracle that Dan got across this open field without the bull busting him, and he gets set up on this fence, and I can tell it's still going to be a long shot from him, but I feel confident. He's a very good shooter, and I feel like he can make the shot.
Nick ranges in with his range finders, and he tells me this bull's 510 yards, and the direction he's pointing is quartering away from us. So I tell Nick, man, we better take it while we can get it, because the direction he's pointing, he's not going to do anything to get further away from us. So I told Nick, I said, the next time he turns broadside, I'm gonna try him from right here.
Maybe a little low, maybe a tiny bit higher.
I hit him? I think I hit him, bud.
Good shot. That was impressive.
Thank you. I would never take a shot that I consider to be a low probability shot. I'm not the guy that's just going to go hit the elk for the sake of hitting it. To a lot of people, 510 yards is a long way, but I've shot distances of that far and farther for a long, long time. I feel extremely confident.
Well, it was pretty special just to watch Dan take a bull this year. He's usually tagging along, taking pictures, and letting everybody else enjoy it. So this was a really refreshing for me to get to watch him shoot a bull this year.
I think that at this stage of the game, for me, it's more surreal than it is excitement. Of course, I'm excited that I got a 7x7 and a beautiful bull. I'm excited that I got to share that with Steph. But to me, it's more about just being so remarkably blessed to be able to go and do this year after year.
I know Dan's taken multiple bulls in his lifetime, but this is his very first time to take a 7x7. It's pretty special to him. Well, even though Dan and I are both getting older, he just made over a 500-yard shot, so I hope we still have a couple more years left in us.
I might need, some little added cheaters to read my iPhone. If you get them out there in 510 yards, I still see plenty clear. This segment is brought to you by Barnes Precision Machines, USA made with unmatched performance. Dreams are the very essence to all success stories. If it weren't for dreams, what would this world look like today? I don't care how many bull elk you kill in your lifetime. Every time you walk up to one, it's almost like the first one. It's just remarkable. The size of their bodies, their heads, their horns, everything. It's just absolutely amazing how big they are.
Well, Dan got this done on the first morning. Fairly quick, fairly easy. It doesn't always happen like that.
Well, I'm done. I get to get out the camera now, which I like even better. Kevin's almost here. I hope we have just half as much luck with Kevin as we did on mine.
Kevin's made it to camp, and I'm feeling pretty hopeful that Kevin's gonna get to fulfill his lifelong dream.
Kevin's wanted to kill an elk with his bow for a long, long time, so it's gonna be super special if we can pull it off.
The first 10 minutes driving around this ranch, I saw more elk than I've seen in my entire life. I've never seen huge herds of elk like this, and they're literally over every rise. And I was blown away just by the sheer number of elk that they have in this area. And I grew up just down the road in Amarillo, Texas, and I didn't realize there would just be elk this close, 3 hours away from my home. And I was just blown away by the size and the number of elk that they have here.
So we head out on a different side of the ranch for Kevin's hunt, and kind of like Dan's hunt, we see a big herd and we see a bull that we think is worthy of taking, so we're gonna go get set up on him.
But before too long, we find the bull that we want, which leads to the discussion of, who, what, when, where, why, and how. How are we gonna get there? Who's gonna go? Which route are we gonna take? What's the wind doing? How much daylight do we have left? Put that plan together, put it into action, let's go get him.
So we decide to make this work. We gotta go around and get in front of him and use the only cover we can, which is these little bitty cactus bushes.
Well, the terrain in this area where this bull happens to be isn't optimal. There's not hardly any trees or brush or anything to hide behind. One guy's hiding behind a cactus, another guy's hiding behind a little yucca bush. One of us is back there, 150, 200 yards laying down in the grass, but there is just enough of a little rise there, and if he can have a little bit of an idea of when to get drawn, we got a good chance.
We get set up and we just have this tiny little cover, and we're waiting for the bulls that we're hearing to present itself. And I turn around to look at the cameraman and I see this gigantic elk coming straight to us. We're in the wide open, and it's not good because we know he's gonna wind us.
Well, Nick's up there right by Kevin. He's calling, he's trying to pull these bulls over this hill closer to us. And I look up towards everybody and somebody's pointing like back at me. And at first I couldn't figure out what he's talking about. And then I finally turned around and I looked. There's this really monster bull just a little ways behind me that was coming to the calls that nobody even knew about.
Once this bull hit our scent cone, he took off running, and we had enough time to look at him, and we realized he's a very good mature bull. So we're trying to get after him. We try to head over to the ridge and see where he dropped off and see if we can't find him. Well, after looking for quite a while and not being able to locate this bull, we decided to go back to the herd that we were originally on and try and get set up.
We know that big herd that we initially were after is still up there, so we walk back out and get up on our vantage point where we can glass. They're still there, scattered around, all around this mountain. So put a plan together. We're going to get back in the trucks and go all the way around to the back side of the mountain where I'm going to drop the guys off and let them walk that huge distance all the way back around to where those elk are, so that if they're successful, then I can get the trucks closer to them so that when we go to pack him out, it won't be as far.
We realize they're kind of going up the mountain a little bit, which is good because they're kind of going where we have more cover.
I can see the guys across the hill just kind of, they'll poke out from behind a tree here and then get behind another one, and from a distance I can kind of see what they're doing. Well, across the valley I can see the elk kind of meandering and feeding toward them. So if everything holds and the wind doesn't switch, they're going to be right in their lap here pretty soon.
We're working our way through these trees and you can smell the elk. You know we're in a good place. There are elk all around us.
I kind of could tell even at this long distance that things were changing, because everybody's pointing and you see people getting behind cedar trees and behind juniper bushes and everything. Everybody's picking their hiding spot. So I know the elk are close and they know the elk are close, and whatever's gonna happen is getting ready to do it. During Kevin Fowler's country music career, what songs has he written? A, Beer, Bait, and Ammo. B, The Lord Loves a Drinking Man. C, Long Line of Losers. D, all of the above. This segment is brought to you by Wise Eye Smart Feeders. Feed the guest, zap the pest, shut out the rest. During Kevin Fowler's country music career, what songs has he written? Kevin Fowler wrote Sammy Kershaw's 2003 single, Beer, Bait, and Ammo, Mark Chestnut's 2004 single, The Lord Loves a Drinking Man, and Montgomery Gentry's 2009 single, Long Line of Losers. When one finds their true passion, boredom and monotony never exist.
So we're all in position and you can start to see the elk feeding out into the open.
Well, the bull's getting closer and closer. From this distance, it already looks like it's in range. All we need now is just this much luck, and Kevin is going to be able to pull off something that he's wanted to pull off for a very long time.
It sounds like this bull is right on top of us. This is going to be Kevin's opportunity.
I can't hear him, but I can tell by the bull's body language that Nick is playing some sweet cow melody to him and he's coming on in.
So we have just enough light left in the day. We see the elk feeding out below us. The bull is bugling closer and closer to us all the time. So I feel like this is fixing to happen.
Well, I couldn't tell anymore. The light had gotten so bad, I couldn't tell what was going on. Maybe sometimes I could see movement, sometimes I couldn't. And I was thinking, I wonder what happened, what's going on? And I get a text from Chris, our producer, says, bull down. And I was like, yes, he got one.
To be a part of somebody fulfilling their lifetime dream of doing something, well, it's pretty special to be right next to him and watch him do it, watch him perform, and be a part of it.
It was just a remarkable trip. I got a great 7x7 bull. Kevin got, you know, his first bull with a bow, which was really cool, really remarkable, something he'd always wanted. And that's why we do these things. These kinds of trips are so special.
This has really been an exciting week. I got to watch Dan shoot a bull. I got to see Kevin fulfill a lifetime dream of doing something for him. Just being a part of it and being in this beautiful place. I don't know, this is what hunting is all about.
Vault Aviation, a different kind of whitetail.